Again, from gangs to grad school, baby. Let's do it. Do it with me. Let's make this rock. I want to start this out by shouting out my channel members because my channel members are what make the whole situation work, right? This is the reason that I'm here, so that hopefully one day I can become a full-time YouTube creator, right? And I can use my education and move in a positive direction, you know? Let's see how far I can get. I'll do the work. You guys support the channel. We'll do it together, right? So, shout out to Bigfoot because Bigfoot's awesome. Shout out to Wesley Mitchell because that's the homie. Shout out to Vitmore. Shout out to Stephen Beath. Shout out to We Was Wolves. And there's one more. My dog's out there going off. Shout out to, I'm going to remember. I owe them an apology. And shout out to Anna the Goat anyway, because that's my homie. Even though her thing expired, but that's all right. So, what we got right here is, this is a dude from Colorado. He has a YouTube channel called Views of a Goal Getta. Okay, and he did he told the story of something that happened in Lyman, Colorado, an assault that happened in Lyman, Colorado. So I happened to be there during that time. And so I listened to a story and I want to react to the situation. I want to see what, you know what I mean? I want to see, I want to go over it, you know? I don't do a lot of reactions to videos, but I was there, literally there whenever he's talking about it. So, and not only was I there, I was even more entrenched in the situation. I could tell. I knew more than he did because I know the dude who did it. We all know who that fool was. It's a whole situation, but yeah, here we go. Bam. Let's go like this. We'll go like that. Bam. Let's get over here. Expand that one and go. And I'm gonna stop this and start this as I go. This is my first what's called like real reaction like this. I don't do reactions like this, but this situation hit so close to home for me, so I figured I would check it out.
One time when I actually did have a single cell, I was in a Lyman Correctional Facility here in Colorado, and I had a job that was like a facility upper job, like to a degree. Like we made a little bit higher because the department that contracted through the prison, paid like a premium price for the stuff that we did, and we did power sewing on like sewing machines. If you can ever think of what a sweatshop looked like, this was like a huge sweatshop. They made like the gravel bags that are on the highway. They did, coats, pants, underwear. They did all these type of things. The labels, everything from.
I worked in this shop as well. It's the power sewing shop. I got lucky whenever I came out of the STG program from Ordway, and then I came out of the STG. Jack, that's enough. When I came out of the STG program, my big homie was on the yard. My big homie was already on the yard in Lyman, and he was able to slide, dude. He was able to grease the wheels or whatever, so I was able to skip all the bullshit and go directly into power sewing, which is kind of hard to do, but you know what I mean? That's kind of how the big homie already had things set up. Who knows? He probably threw to paper or something like that. But yeah, I worked in power sewing too, just like TJ.
Start to finish, everything was sewed in-house, and your job was to basically learn these sewing machines and then knock out about 50 to 100 of these things an hour. You were supposed to be in there buzzing. At the end of the day, there wasn't no slack. They had guards and everything that came through and monitored everyone, and majority of times the guards would be like older women or older people that definitely if there was an issue, was definitely not going to be able to do anything to save the day, let alone themselves. So they'd walk.
There was this one bitch, I swear to God, she was orange, dog. She was bright orange. We used to make fun of her, dog. She was oranger than Trump, dog. Bright, bright, super orange, with fake spray tan, and she was super crazy. And me and the homie Johnny B from 211, we used to just clown this bitch. We used to clown her, homie. It was so funny. She was so crazy. She lived like out in the middle of nowhere. She was super crazy. She was like crazy hillbilly bitch.
Walk through, and they'd help and teach you, because I mean, majority of them have been doing this stuff for many years. It's just out in a farm town, and this is one of the best jobs offered with benefits and things of that nature. So they teach you how to do that. But you'd be in here making all these things, and one time we were in there, and inside they had these industry size coffee machines, if you can think of them. These things are big. They can easily probably do like 100, 200 cups of coffee, and that's what they give you in there. You got these little paper cups that you fill up with all.
Yeah, it's like a big carafe. They have a really, that's all it is. It's not anything crazy. It's just a carafe, but they're really big, really tall. And yeah, you probably get 200.
Colombian coffee, red hot, and man, you'd be in there sweating, just buzzing away. It'd be super hot in there. And we were in there one day, just a regular day. Usually we'd go in the morning time, and we'd go up till about 11 o'clock, break, go to lunch, and then we'd come back from lunch from about 1 to 3:30, maybe 4, somewhere in there. And it was midday. We had already made it past the first half. We had lunch. We came back. Got this ambulance in the background. We came back from lunch, and we were we were doing what we were doing. We were setting at our thing. I can't remember what I was sewing. I think I was sewing shirts or something like that. And we were sewing or buzzing away, probably like 3 or 4 of us around of us.
I was sewing oven mitts at the time whenever this happened. I remember I was on a thing called Special Projects. Me and Johnny B were a team, and we were Special Projects. And the reason we were Special Projects is because there was an area that made shirts, and then an area that made boxers. And those people would get really good at boxers, and these people would get really good at shirts. And then these people would get really good at this or that. Some people would just make pants. We had a constant rotation of all kinds of weird stuff. And see, the thing is, that's why I say I kind of know more than he does about it. I don't think maybe he hadn't been there for that long whenever that happened, because I had bounced around. I had been there for a couple years. And so the quota system was different. There was some things you were only supposed to make like 5 of them an hour. The quota would be 5 an hour because the thing takes 10-12 minutes to make, right? And so I was making oven mitts. Now oven mitts didn't take that long. I think I owed like 18 oven mitts an hour or something like that. But yeah.
3 or 4 people around us, and man, the police came in swarming. They all came running in quick, and it's the military department, it's regular responders, it's regular COs, and they running in there, and we're all looking at each other like, man, what's going on? So, they start yelling, lockdown, hitting the lights, they flashing the lights, so the whole room's going dark and it's getting light, and they telling us we gotta go. So, everybody's flooding out. People are coming out of school. Everybody, the facility is going on lockdown. Whatever happened was just major. So as the facility locks down, they're taking us out, and then they start stripping us out.
Well, hold up. So I'm gonna slow that way down. So this is how it happened, right? So I'm sitting here. My desk, Special Projects, is right by the coffee. Remember how he was talking about the coffee? He mentioned the coffee. So I was literally, the coffee was right there. It's like 10 feet behind me, 12 feet behind my desk. Me and Johnny B, right? So me and Johnny B are sitting there chopping it up, and so I get up to walk over to get some coffee. And then there was one of these staff members, right? I don't remember what his name was. He was built like Gru from Despicable Me. Top heavy ass. He was cool though. But me and him, that's all I remember about him though. I don't remember his name. I mean, he had a blue shirt on. He had the uniform on. They had blue shirts, and he had some jeans on, black jeans, dark hair. And I'm talking to him, and God only knows what we're talking about. I have no idea what we're talking about. They're not really cops. These are industry workers, is what they are. Now you get in trouble just like assaulting a cop if you assault one of them, but they're industry workers. So they says, or he's got his right here, his walkie-talkie right here. And you hear, wah, like that. You hear a scream come through over the thing. Somebody's screaming into the microphone, right? And so I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm sitting there talking to him, and he's looking at me, and I can see his hands, and he starts shaking. He's got his hands in front of him, and he starts shaking. He's got like his clipboard, and his clipboard starts shaking. I was like, what the fuck's going on, dog? And he was like, it's like he didn't know if something was happening, if the inmates were rising up. That's what I could see in his face. I was like, what the fuck? And well, now I see back on it now. But at the time, I was like, what is this dude's problem? And then he just turned around and walked away. I didn't even put the connection with the person screaming in the thing, right? And so I turn around and I start walking over to get my coffee, right? And then I look up and I see cops start running all over the place. But you could tell they don't know where they're going. They're going somewhere, but they don't know where they're going. You can tell they're running, checking everywhere, right? So the coffee's right here. My desk is right here, and then the coffee's right behind it. And then as you leave, you go like 10 feet down this way, and then you make a right, and that's the hallway to leave. Where he's saying that they're lining us up, that's the hallway to leave. But see, I used to work over there. Like I said, I worked all over the place. So I had friends over there, and I know the area over there. That's the cutting room, right? So I made a fucking right, and I was shooting down there to the cutting room, and I can still see cops running all over the place. They're not saying lockdown yet, like he says. I'm just like, what the fuck? So I walk down the little room, and whenever I get to this door, the door is glass, right? It's got a big glass pane in it, and you can see through the cutting room into the back of the cutting room. And in the back of the cutting room is, you go up the stairs, and there's the office, right? And that's where Skeeter works, right? Remember that. That's where Skeeter works. So they go up there in the office. So I get to that door, and I look through the glass, and the woman is running. Her name is Pam. Pam is running at me, and you can see that her shirt has been ripped, but her shirt's been ripped, and she's holding her shirt together, but she's also going like this and holding her neck like that, and she's running, she's sprinting straight at me, like I'm on the other side of the door, and she's sprinting straight for the door. So I grabbed the door, and I opened the door and stepped back, because I could tell whatever was going on was important. So I opened up the door, and she went and took off running down the hallway out of the thing. So then I was like, okay, well, fuck. And I still hadn't even put together the significance of what the fuck just happened. And then I'm walking back. I'm like, well, I'm walking back to my desk. I'm going to go back to my desk now. You know what I mean? I'm sipping my coffee. And I walk back to my desk, and that's when they start, everybody get down. Wrap it up. Let's get out of here. That's what they said. They were like, let's lock down. Let's get out of here. Get out of here. Everybody go. And they started pushing us all out, and then they stopped. They pushed us all out into that big hallway, and then they stopped. And they said, no, stop movement. And they made all of us sit on the ground. And we had to sit there facing each other in a hallway. It's a big, long hallway. So we're all sitting there, just sitting on the ground facing each other. And we were there for like 45, 50 minutes, something like that. They made us sit there. And then they came wheeling that fool out that he's talking about. And it's Skeeter. They come wheeling Skeeter out, right? And Skeeter has a mask all over his head where they had fucked him up. Skeeter was busted up. That wasn't a spit guard. You don't put a spit guard all over somebody's face. That fool's face was sideways. That's why they did that. Let's get back to his video.
Before we can go back to our units, which is across the the prison yard, we sitting there. We got to strip out. We got to take our shirts off, underwear, bend over, cough, the whole nine, and then go through a metal detector. So we're doing that. The process is real slow.
Facts. That's true.
And we see this guy. We see him come out. They're pushing this guy. He looks like Hannibal Lecter, and he's strapped to a gurney, butt naked. He's strapped to the gurney. And they're pushing him. There's a bunch of COs, and they're pushing him right past us. And he's got the little thing and his spit guard on his face to make sure that You know, he doesn't bite, spit, or do anything like that, and they're pushing him right past us. And you know, he gets pushed out. We see him go through the yard. You know, we're hearing little bits and pieces, and you know, we finally make it back to the unit. You know, this is probably about like an hour, 45 minutes after all the stuff happened. We make it back to the unit, and thank God I had a single cell right here, because when I get back in there, you know, we ended up being locked down for almost 4 months right there. 4 months to the facility, and the facility never came back to being the way that it was before. But we get back to the unit, I turn on my TV, and you know, I go, whenever you're in these state facilities, you know, pretty much you have a couple local channel news that really keep you tied into the city if you're from the city. So, you know, like I turned on the TV and I seen the news, and you know, not even within minutes they had an update, and it came to be that there was a guy up in there, I forget his name, but he was an old school cat, and you know, salt and pepper here, and you know, what he had did is he had snatched up one of the instructors who was a guard, and he attempted to rape her, and he cut her throat in the process of doing that. And see,
and developing this afternoon, a Department of Corrections employee is recovering after being attacked by an inmate last night at an eastern Colorado prison. That prison is still on lock.
See, Pam Kahanik, and see what was so devastating about the whole thing, if I remember right, she was married to the head case manager in Lyman. And the honest truth is, I remember Pam, and Pam was a sweetheart. She was the ultimate sweetheart. Like, never wrote anybody up ever. I don't ever remember, not ever once, did she ever write anybody up, period. And I was in that place for close to 2 years. I was in Power Zone for close to 2 years, and she was nothing but a sweetheart the entire time.
Lockdown as of this afternoon. Now, because of the investigation, we're told there will be no visitation this weekend as they work through all the evidence. The officer was taken to the...
See, that's Skeeter right there. Now, see, that's the cold part about all this, right? Is that fool had, and you can see how tall he is too. He's a big dude. He's a very large man, right? But that fool was protected by the police. He was given a job in the up there. He is known to be no good. They know that he's a SO. He's a special victims unit. He's a special offender. They know that. Everybody's known that. He victimizes old women. That was his trip, was the R case. Getting R cases on women that are like in their 70s and their 80s. Women, basically, they can't defend themselves at all, right? Old women that can't defend themselves at all. They're too old to even defend themselves. And that's how he caught his case. So he was a young man doing stuff like that. And everybody knew this. They tried to get at this fool. This dude basically lived underneath the cops all the time. He was that's all he did. He worked with the cops and stayed by the cops in the unit at all times. He didn't have you know, he would still get victimized from time to time, but, you know, he was never made to move because he stayed under the police all the time, you know?
Hospital after being attacked with a sharp object.
That is wild. That is wild. I held the door for her. It's crazy. I didn't even think about it at the time. And guaranteed those cops know that too. Because that whole place is on.
When we were in Power Sewing, you have to go in there and get.
Guaranteed they have it on camera, right? Guaranteed it's on camera. Every inch of that, of what happened, is on camera. So the cops know what I'm talking about. That I was like, damn. Because there was nobody else in that hallway. It was just me, I guess, who decided. It was because I had seen that cop. Like, I was talking to that cop whenever the call went through. So I was like one of the first ones to know. So I kind of knew right away that something was going on and that I needed to investigate things.
Give them your ID. When you give them your ID, they give you this little pouch, and this pouch would consist of like a little bit of these little dull scissors, you know, stuff to cut the cloth and ribbon and all that type of stuff. So you have this pouch and they give it to you and trade it for the ID. And he used one of those, but he was somebody that had already been in there for like 6, 7, 8 years, had a life sentence. You know, if I do recall, he already had like a sexual assault case from like the early 80s or something like that. So he was already a predator. But, you know, once again, he, you know, through good merit and good acts of faith, he made himself all the way up there. And, you know, whatever that voice in his head was told him to do that. And that's what he did. And praise God, she lived. And she actually came back to work like 7 days later after all this stuff happened. And, you know, her throat was cut. But, you know, we went into lockdown for 4 months right there. And that's like, you know, they wheeled our food in, they bring it to our door. You know, sometimes, you know, they let the bottom tier out. We come out, we grab the stuff, it be in styrofoam. You know, you get a little thing of milk and, you know, it's back to your cell for the next day. You know, and those days would turn into weeks. Those weeks would turn into months. And, you know.
So during this time, I caught multiple COPD violations, Code of Penal Discipline violations, and we're going to go over some of these since he's describing, oh, they kept us locked down. Well, not all of us stayed locked down, and I'm going to show you. Motherfuckers, you know, whenever you're in a prison full of people that are lifers, and you got a whole cohort that just don't give a fuck, you know what I mean? It's kind of nice. You know what I mean? You just not give a fuck too, you know? So share this tab instead. Here we go. Is this the right tab? Yeah, this is the right tab. Now let me, let's see. Code of Penal Disciplines. Okay. So what had happened was, let's see, let me maximize this a little bit. Bam. Okay. Offender pled guilty to both charges. Offender was told to sit at the next empty table. He complied, but he took his time. Called staff a bitch. Okay, this is LCF. This is Lyman Correctional Facility. This is whenever they decided that they were going to racially integrate the sitting, where we eat, right? Now, I do not care. I will eat with anybody. My politics don't mandate that I can eat with whoever. That's fine. They don't mandate that I racially segregate who I eat with. I can do whatever I want. But I didn't like the fact that they were going to tell me that. You know what I mean? That they were going to tell me what to do. So I cussed this fool out. Let's see. Boom. Right here. The inmate was out of his cell. When told to return, was caught sliding an object into the jam. He refused to hand over the object. So they caught me rigging the door. And that's what we would do, is we would rig the door. So then whenever I wanted to come out, I just come out. You know what I mean? They couldn't keep us in our cells. Let's see. Okay. Staff was serving the noon meal. Staff was closing the cell door. Staff was serving the noon meal. Why would staff be serving the noon meal? This is during the lockdown. This is date of offense, November 02, 2007. So this is during that 4-month lockdown that he's talking about. Staff was serving the noon meal. It's the only reason staff would be serving the meal. Staff was serving the noon meal. Staff was closing the cell door, and Greg was using his foot to stop the door from closing. Staff closed the door to Greg's cell by pushing him back into his cell. He did ask staff for his fucking hot tray. Yeah, they hosed me on my hot tray. I do remember that. They hosed me on my hot tray. That's some bullshit. These are all during the same era. Like, I was going off. I didn't give a fuck. I was pulling my MRD anyway, my mandatory release date. So I wasn't getting out of anything anyway. Okay, then let's see. Here's at Lyman a month later. Oh, and then so the thing is after this, it just became really bad. Things became really racially tense, racially charged. That 211 fool zombie attacked a cop in the chow hall because they tried to make him sit with a black dude. Not really with a black dude, just with whoever they wanted. So he attacked the cop, jacked that cop up. My dog is just going off. My dog just lets him have it. Good for him. Let's see. Okay. And then right here, I went over here and beat this fool up. and he got beat up, and I got caught in I got caught in the unit, and that's what I got the write up for. But whenever I got caught, they told the fool they had opened the movement for yard, and they told the fool that I beat up. They're like, just get out of here, fool, just go to yard. And so he took off to yard. So they come into the unit looking for whoever I beat up, because they catch me in the unit. They know I was in a cell, right? And they're like, well, we think you did something. We think you were over there doing something. So they're in there like checking people, looking for marks on people and shit like that. You know what I mean? And they can't find anything. Fender claimed he went to the unit to see his case manager. He didn't know it would be a problem to go into someone else's cell. Offenders are not permitted to enter other housing units or pods that except the one they are assigned to. And then that's a different prison right there. Yeah, all of this happened right here, right? During this lockdown. Before that, I was cool, man. Everything was cool. Everything was good. Life was good. And I got in this one fight, and then that was it, dude. That was it. I got in a fight in Lyman with a Sereno fool. I don't even know where that is. I don't even see that one. Interference with the search. Yeah, I didn't even see that one. Disobeying a lawful order. Now that I think about it, with that fool also, I got in a fight, the Sereno fool also. I didn't even see that write up. Oh no. Boom. So, let's get back to, hold on. Let me find views of a go-getter. My homie. Bye-bye. Bam. All right.
This actually happened, during September, and my mother's birthday was on the 21st. So, I was only able to correspond with her, and wish her a happy birthday just through a letter, because, there was no phone action, there was no visits, there was nothing, everything was shut down. So if you had didn't have the privilege of a single cell during that time, basically you were going to just, be in there with the strangers that they put in the cell with you. So, can you imagine?
I did have a single cell, actually, at that time. I was rocking a single cell, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Imagine that. Can you imagine for months, you just with a random guy and a random person, you have to, find the measure of arm's width right there, measure of respect, and, deal with all that stuff. Smell this person, eat with this person, the whole nine. But yeah, that was 4 months right there. So we did 4 months in there. And then, once again, when, they finally started letting us out, pod by pod. We'd be able to come out for like an hour. One tier might come out, be able to shower, things of this nature, step by step. And then finally, when it was what they would call all programs go, where, the facility moved around and functioned, certain units didn't correspond with one another, whereas before the whole facility would go to yard, or, you'd have a lot of stuff passing. They just, basically what they did, they just put their foot on the neck of the facility again. Everybody that lived in there, that was, housed there, basically they felt the wrath.
During this lockdown, I was in Unit 6. In Unit 6, you look right across the yard, and you can see the wall of Unit 4, right? I swear to God, they did a bunch of drills, like task force drills on the wall, on the side of Unit 4, which means Unit 4 could hear it. Guaranteed Unit 4 could hear it, because Unit 6 could hear it. And I seen them fools out there with them riot shotguns and shit shooting the wall, testing weapons, testing all kinds of new weapons, like on the wall out there, doing force training, out there screaming and yelling and spraying shit with pepper spray and everything else. Like out there training like they're going to battle, right? Is what they did. And they did it in front of us so that we could see it during this months that we're talking about that we're locked down. And then what they would do is they would train all morning in their fucking military tactical shit and all their tactical shit looking all tough. But like some of them are like 500 pounds. They're all fat. You know what I mean? And some of them are all skinny. Some of them got diapers and shit. But they're all suited up in like all this tactical gear and all these weapons, right? And then they would line up and make like a funnel of a line. And then all the inmates would have to walk in between their little stupid line while they mean mugged everybody like they were tough. and the homeboy said something stupid. The homeboy Candyman, what did he say? That fool got in a gang of trouble. He didn't say fucking. He said some dumb shit. That fool ended up getting like ad segged and going to CSP for some fucking stupid. He said, I don't remember what he said. He said something dumb. He was like, I got an ice pick or a screwdriver or something like that. And that was it. He just said it. Just said some dumb shit while we were walking through that stupid line, and that was it. They were like, yeah, you're done, fool. You're done. They know I'm talking about. Candyman, Santa Stephen. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. Bam.
You know, of this man's bad decisions, we all had to suffer. And at the end of the day, that man's got to live there. And I don't know what tormented that man. And I'm thankful to God that the lady lived, because she was a good lady. She was real humble. She was an instructor. She definitely didn't deserve that. But at the end of the day, it's like we're living on hell sometimes. You got to go through some processes to get growth. And that was a life-defining moment right there for her. And then once again for all the people that's been housed at that facility. And can you imagine that though? Could you imagine just being in one place in the world, not being able to move, not being able to shower, not being able to come out? You're looking out one little window, seeing nothing but fields and dry grass, and at the end of the day, that's all you got. You got that for months on end, and waiting on the mail to slide under your door. I'll never forget it. The mail makes a certain kind of noise when it slides on that concrete. And you hear that, it's jackpot, because you don't get junk mail in prison. In prison, if you do, it might just be a thing from the library, but that's random. Usually you get a JPay, which is some money, or a letter typed up to you, or you got some love from the streets from somebody that took some time out their day to write a letter to you, which is a thing of the past nowadays. I don't think anybody understands the art of writing a true letter. Yeah, that was a long 4 months right there, and that's probably the longest lockdown I did. As far as like a facility lockdown, stuff would always happen. There'd always be some fights and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, you'd be locked down for a couple hours a day or something, and it's back to regular motion again. But if you guys appreciate the video, man, please hit that like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned in with me for new videos. Like I said, I'm trying to hit a new video every Thursday about 9 p.m. Mountain Time.
All right. Tap in with the homeboy. Views of a go-getter. Right? So, yeah. This, it was interesting. It was an interesting time. The cops, after this happened, they decided they were going to racially integrate the chow hall. That didn't go well. It led to a cop being assaulted and Zombie being placed in segregation for many years. Then they kind of gave up on that. They said, okay, maybe that wasn't the best idea, but they started becoming very restrictive with the yard. Whereas Lyman was a level 4, which is restrictive in many ways. The security is very high, but it was also it was like, okay, you're here, it's high security, but you were generally allowed to do what you do, right? Pop the doors in the morning, you guys are good, man. Do what you guys are going to do. You're generally out all day. You got to lock down for a couple times a day during count. Go to your little job, go to the gym, you know what I mean? And that's your whole day. But you were generally allowed to during movement, you could come and go and do your stuff. And it wasn't like that anymore. They became very, very, very restrictive. And the way that the people saw it was like, you guys protected Skeeter. You guys protected him. The what you call it. You know what I mean? You guys protected the sex offender. We didn't like that dude. Nobody liked that dude. You guys protected him. You wanted him. You gave him that cush job up there in the office where he had individual access. I never had access to any of those women like alone, right? Think of that. Think of that. My job never allowed me any sort of access to any of these women alone, right? But this dude who has priors for assaulting elderly women was allowed to be given a job in the office. He actually worked in the office. He worked up there, up the stairs, where you went up the stairs at the back of the cutting room. You would go up the stairs into the glass office where they would oversee the whole thing. He was like a clerk, right? So this dude had like a cush job, sitting up there, air conditioned, doing his thing all day, drinking coffee, working on the computer all day, and he's a real live piece. And they're protecting him, and then this fool does something crazy, and they came down on us. They come down on general population. We don't like that dude. We'd take that dude's life if you let us, right? They would have, if they would have got a chance. I'm not sure what Unity would have lived in, or what Unity lived in. I don't know, but that's the only thing that was stopping anybody from victimizing him was the police, right? Because the police were protecting him. So that's how people felt whenever the police just kept on with this pressure. They ruined everything. It just became to where the all the good shit that was in Lyman was just, they just ruined all of it. Just went away, and the cops were just on us. The pressure ended up leading to another race war. There was a race war between, it started as the GDs, but it turned in, the GD and the Sureño fool got in a fight, and then that turned into the blacks getting into it with the Mexicans and the whites, and then it just turned, it kind of spiraled from there, and then the blacks felt like they got done wrong or something like that, so they were like, hey, well, we want an apology, and then the white dudes were like, yeah, eat a dick. I remember that, because I remember whenever word came over, the white dudes were not happy about it, and they kind of wanted to go again, if we're going to be honest. Like, they came out looking good the first time, and was like, don't make us do it again, is basically what they said. And so they kind of had not really the numbers, but they had some tough white boys over there. There was a team of them. You know what I mean? This was a level 4 prison. There wasn't a lot of slouches. You know what I mean? Lyman was serious dudes. Everybody working out. Everybody's on a program. Wasn't no slouching. You know what I mean? And everybody's on it. But yeah. Anyway, that's my reaction. That's my reaction to this video. It changed a lot in Lyman whenever this woman got attacked. And I doubt that Lyman has ever gone back to what it was, because it was one of the coolest prisons I had ever been in. It was by far the coolest level 4 I had ever been in. And I've been in Buny, Ordway, and Sterling. And all those places suck. But, anyway, later, my friends.